It seems like they got it. Last week, Kid Cudi, or the week before, Kid Cudi testified about his car being blown up by Sean Combs. That's arson. An assistant testified that she was kidnapped by Sean Combs at gunpoint. That's kidnapping. Cassie Ventura, that was all about the sex trafficking counts. And I think the prosecution is really selling the idea not only that Sean Combs was essentially this mafia figure, but that he was using the company's resources and his staff to facilitate and cover up a pattern of crimes. They have been very deliberate in every witness that they've called.
Is Sean Combs likely to testify?
No. Let me tell you this. First of all, we all know that him taking the stand and being subjected to cross-examination by the prosecutors is going to be quite problematic for him. But you also have to wonder what his judgment is. Look, in the United States, it's his decision and his decision alone to testify. But he's the same guy who thought it was a good idea 2 days after CNN published that footage of him back in 2016 to release an Instagram video apologizing for it. So he basically forfeited any right to say that that video wasn't him or it was manipulated. He admitted it. So if that's the judgment of this criminal defendant, I don't think him getting on the stand will do any good. Even though the defense has been saying this is all domestic violence, I think their best avenue is to strike at the credibility of these witnesses. They've been doing a very good job at that and trying to say, even if this is a violent series of episodes, it's not sex trafficking, it's not racketeering, it doesn't meet those elements. Those are where they need to go. That's where they need to go.
And in relation to Cassie Ventura's testimony, a lot of debate about, I saw Bill Maher did a big piece about this, and I interviewed the Punisher, who came forward, and he certainly was of the belief that what was going on was very consensual. And in fact, Cassie Ventura had been the one that liaised with him over payment and times and locations and so on. You know, this all goes to this general argument of whether she was coerced by Sean. Has the prosecution won that debate, do you think, in the eyes of the jury, that it's been established it was coercion, or is there wriggle room there for Sean Combs?
No, it definitely hasn't been decided, and it's difficult to know what the jury might be thinking, but they have been doing an exceptional job at raising that in cross-examination of Cassie and also Mia. So Mia was a former assistant who says that Sean Combs sexually assaulted her multiple times, and yet they confronted her with many social media posts and text messages where she's praising Sean Combs, that she even wanted to work for him. There were messages with Cassie where she was appearing to set up these freak-offs and encouraging these freak-offs. But then you remember the testimony of Dr. Dawn Hughes, a forensic psychologist, who said this is a lot more complicated. It may appear that victims are behaving in a way that's inconsistent with being abused, but not so fast. There's a lot of complicated issues of trauma bonding, financial control. Sometimes victims won't even recognize they are victims until years later with trauma. So it's not an easy analysis. It's not an easy discussion. But I will tell you, his defense team, which are doing a fantastic job, they're great lawyers, they're raising that kind of reasonable doubt because they're saying everything was consensual. They were willing participants. It may have been ugly. It may have been different.